Setting yourself up, taking that extra second to really make sure that your alignment is good here. And then you can fan the toes out, that extra little lift. So practicing fanning the toes out and reaching out through the ball of the foot is going to be really helpful when you start to get into some other poses where the legs are lifted up, because it helps to activate all the muscles through the legs. Okay, when you're ready, arms come out. And a little movement here with our boat. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, knees and chest together. So if you need help, arms are always there if you need them. One more. Inhale, exhale. Lifting up nice and high. Pull the shoulder blades back. On your exhale, send the legs out long. Inhale, lengthen your upper body. Exhale, fold. Roll yourself up through sitting. Let's swing the legs out to one side, come over onto hands and knees. Starting out in your table. Let's curl the toes underneath. On your exhale, roll back into down dog. And then starting whatever your little ritual is to make yourself comfortable in down dog. Maybe pedaling the feet, shaking the shoulders out, whatever you like. Once you find yourself comfortable in down dog and you start to settle in, so you're not really fidgeting around with the pose anymore, bring your awareness into the upper body. So for a couple weeks now we've been talking about the hands, really spreading the fingers out, making sure that the middle finger is pointed toward the front of the room, and especially grounding down through the thumb and the index finger. So that's going to help to protect your wrists. But then I also want you to think about the shoulders. There's a tendency in down dog that as we really start to deepen into the pose and we're sending our weight back, we're lifting our hips, sending our tailbone up to the ceiling, that you can kind of crunch a little bit too much in the shoulders. So be very mindful of that. You want to be kind to the shoulders here. Okay, with our next exhale, let's step the right foot up in between the hands. Starting out in a high lunge, get that little sink down through the hips, press back through the left heel. On your next exhale, drop the left knee, release the top of the foot down, take your inhale, find Anjane. Working on that nice hip opening that we always get when we're in our low lunge, feeling that diagonal line as we're pressing the hips forward, like we're trying to touch the front heel. Now we're going to try a little variation here. You always have the option to stay here in Anjane if you want, or if you want to try the variation for opening up the inner hip, you're going to take your left foot and swing it to the right side of your mat, and then start to sink your weight toward the front knee. So you're coming sideways. Don't feel like you're in Warrior 2 in your lunge. So my weight is going forward, and what's happening is I'm getting opening on the inside of my right hip. It's almost like this is our Warrior 1, and that's our Warrior 2. So then we'll come back into the middle. Swing that foot back so that it's directly behind your knee. Take your inhale back up into Anjane. Exhale, release the hands either side of the right foot. Left toes curl underneath. Take your inhale, step up to forward bend. Exhale, fold over the legs. Take an inhale halfway up. Nice long back. As you come halfway up, I want you to think about doing a mini back bend. Really engage the upper back, draw the shoulder blades together. Exhale, fold over the legs. arms are loose. Soften your knees. Take your inhale, sweep all the way up to mountain. Exhale, hands to the heart. Deep breath. Now, as we're here in our mountain, just pick up your toes, fan them out a bit, and then press them back down onto the floor. Give those toes a little stretch. Next, inhale, sweep the arms up. Softening the knees, take your exhale, dive forward. Inhaling halfway up, nice lift in the upper back. Exhale, fold over the legs. Okay, over to the other side. On your inhale, right leg steps back. Find your high lunge. Just one breath here. Feeling it sink down in the hips. On your next exhale, release the right knee. Release the top of the foot. Inhale, come up to Anjaneyana. As we're sinking the hips forward here, just making sure that the knee is still over the ankle. And then we want to feel that opening in the front of the right thigh, up into the hip. Then if you want to come into that side variation, we're going to take the right foot, slide it over toward the left side of the mat, 90-degree angle. And then continue to sink your weight toward the front of the room. So you're going to feel opening on the inner hip instead of the front. Just be really careful with your knee. And if you like, you can take warrior two arms with that. Making our way back to the middle. Swing the foot back, line the hips with the front of the room. Inhale the arms up. On your exhale, hands drop down to your heart. Hands on either side of the left foot. Curl the right toes underneath, lift the right knee up. On your exhale, left foot comes back into down dog. Inhale. Use the lower abs to start your roll forward into high plank. Once you're up into your plank, if the lower back is unhappy here, drop the knees. Now, check your elbows. Make sure that you're not locking your elbow joint back. You might want to put a little micro bend in the elbows and then feel how that engages the shoulder muscles. Feeling that upper back, shoulder blades pressing against the back of the rib cage. On your next exhale, slow chaturanga. Elbows point straight back as we lower. Releasing all the way down to the mat. Take your inhale, lift up into cobra. Keep those elbows hugging into the sides of the body. Exhale, release down. On your inhale, press yourself up into table. Exhale, roll back into child's pose. Get your counter stretch after your back bend. Taking an inhale, pull yourself forward into table. Curl the toes underneath. Exhale, roll back down dog. Exhale, step the right foot up in between the hands. Inhale, find length through the spine. Reach the crown of the head and the left heel in opposite directions. On your exhale, drop the left knee, release the toes. We'll take an inhale up to Anjaneyana. This time we're going to take an inhale, pull the hips back, straighten through the right leg. Reach up through the fingertips. On your exhale, fold over the right leg. Come into half split, half Hanumanasana. On our exhale, we're going to add a side bend in here. Bringing the hands to the right edge of the mat and starting to walk yourself over as far as you can without changing the position in the lower body. Hips are still squared to the front of the room. We're just getting a little side bend in the spine. On your inhale, come back through center, hands on either side of the right leg. And we're going to come up into, I'll call it a knee down version of revolved triangle. So we're going to start with the left hand right underneath the left shoulder. On your inhale, open the right arm up to the ceiling. So what I want you to think of here is that revolved triangle pose, which I'll show you, is this one that we do in our standing sequence. Same thing, except we're down on the back knee. So what we're trying to do is twist the chest, open the heart up toward the ceiling, pulling back through the right hip so we feel really long through the outside of the right leg. And this is one of the reasons I gave you guys a block. If you feel like you're not lifted up high enough, feel free to have that block underneath your hand. Take one more inhale here. On your exhale, right hand plants down to the floor. Shift your weight forward, bend into the right knee, and lift up onto the fingertips. Lift the heart up. We'll curl the left toes underneath. Left knee lifts up off the floor. Now, on your exhale, drop the left heel down. Angle the toes out so we're getting ready for our standing poses. We'll inhale, come up warrior one. Feeling that little shift that goes on in the hips for warrior one. Right hip is pulling back here, left hip is gently rotating forward, but making sure that the back knee is okay. And one of the things that we do to protect that back knee is think about pressing your pinky toe to the floor. Now we'll take an inhale, right leg straightens, nice strong reach back through the right hip. Exhale, fold over the right leg. Pyramid pose, bending the knee as much as you need to keep your hamstrings straight, your hamstrings safe. So you don't have to bring the leg all the way straight. Still feeling that little rotation in the hips. Right hip drawing toward the back wall, left hip gently rotating front. From here, we'll add our little side bend. On your exhale, walk the hands to the right edge of the mat. The legs stay right where they are. There you go. On your inhale, walk yourself back through center. Now we're going to come into revolved triangle. So if you like a block, bring that block to the inner edge of the right foot. We're going to put the left hand onto that block. Inhale, open the right arm up to the ceiling. Yep, there you go. You can drop the right hand down. We'll take an inhale, step the left foot up to meet the right. Exhale, fold over your